Are you out of your fucking mind?
Do you remember how we took out Spider for cruise? Together, Paco. We're unbeatable.
Your onda's not my onda. And it never will be. Paco!
I'll always be your brother, Vato Loco.
Never.
Spoilers locos forever, carnal. This is Spoilers.
Whoa.
Simons.
Everybody, welcome to Spoilers, a Patreon episode. Our friend Napa Valley Barbecue, aka Cheese Zombie, requested the 3-hour epic with two names: Blood In, Blood Out, and what was the other name? Bound by
Honor.
Yeah. He also had an opening question for us, so let's get into that. He said, I'm not sure how to word it. Something along the lines, how much did the 90s gangster scene affect you? Examples, did you wear hairnets, Dickies pants, those belts that were 5 times too big, etc. Let's go, in honor of Napa Valley, west to east. Corey Kylo Ren memes.
Yeppa, Holmes. What up? This is Corey Kylo Ren memes. Probably my favorite 3 words said consecutively in this movie, by the way. When Spider pops up and says that on Cruise. My answer to this question is yes, I was influenced by 90s Chicano culture. I grew up in a Chicano town called Oxnard. I lived there until I was 14, and there were some things that kind of like affected me, even though I was kind of a grunge kid, and also, I don't know, I was a lot of things. I tried to be in a lot of groups, but there was a certain fashion accessory that I wore that was like very, I don't know, like, I don't want to say it was like gangster, but it was kind of like a gangster thing. You guys can let me know. I had to look up what the name was. It's a certain kind of belt. It's a canvas web belt. Are you guys familiar with that? Can you visualize that based on the name alone?
I'm Googling now.
I think probably not, right? I had no idea.
Oh, it's got this little clip thing?
It's like the black belt that is like a cloth. It's like it's not like a leather belt, but it has like the...
It looks like a military belt.
What are you getting at here? Did you kill somebody with this canvas web belt?
No, but back in the day, in Oxnard anyway, like the local Hispanic dudes, like the gangbanger types, they would wear this belt, but with like a customized buckle that had like a letter. Oh, and that letter was like, you know, their first name initial. So I had one that said C, like in 7th grade. So it was like that belt with like, but it was like an old English letter, you know? It had
C
to be
for
like
Kylo.
Cool. Yeah, C for Kylo Ren memes. Chilo. They called me Chilo back in the day, Holmes.
My friend used to wear these belts.
Okay, let me ask you, Bratt, because this is the way it was for me. What, did he have an old English letter on the buckle? Or was it the plain buckle?
It was a guy I told you about, like very similar to you, skateboarder type. I don't think so. He just had the buckle thing, so I doubt he was that. He was definitely more into like black culture than Latino culture, so I don't know if that translated or not.
Well, the other kind of thing with this belt was you had to like, it had to be long, kind of like Jason said in his opening question, but you had like the long part like hanging down. So like, you know, the belt would like hang down like mid-thigh kind of, as opposed to wrapping around your waist. Anyway, long answer, but that's mine.
Mikey, Chicago, Illinois. No, was not really dressing like this or anything. I had an uncle who dressed in this type of Chicano style, and I have family in Michigan who are, I don't know, just, they're not in gangs or anything, but they're just like Mexican doing their thing up in Michigan. So it's fun to go visit them and just like see what they do in their day to day, just like embracing their culture and cooking out and hanging out and stuff like that. But I don't like the particular style of clothes of the Chicano style. It's a little too baggy for me.
How would you describe your style, Mikey? Give a visual picture for our audience, our diverse 60 plus female, all 256 of them in that demo.
Right now I'm wearing flip-flops or chanclas, as these guys would say, with socks. I've got some cut-off Nike shorts on and just a blank white t-shirt and a hat on. So I don't dress like these guys at all. It's also pretty hot here today, so
Mikey, you must have to dress up for work, right?
I just wear no. When you work in TV, you don't have to wear nice clothes if you're not on TV. Even the people who are on TV wear normal stuff until 15 minutes before they get on. So, I mean, pretty laid back, but I wear usually a sweater because it's freezing in there. It's cold to keep all of the computers and equipment warm, but just like a sweater and pants. So I don't have to dress nice. I just dress warm for the freezing air-conditioned rooms I'm always in.
All right, let's go
I
next.
was going to say, because Mikey, you dressed like a guy that kind of like always got done playing like a pickup basketball game. Like, just like some athletic shorts and like some like, you know,
I wouldn't wear that.
Comfortable size t-shirt.
I wouldn't wear that to work. No.
Can we like point out for people who like find this pod that Mikey is Hispanic, correct? So cover our bases there.
Yes, that is correct. And if Stevie shows up, he's also Hispanic.
Also
Stevie is here.
Here we go.
Oh, there he is.
Here we go. I just wanted to let people know that we're not a bunch of
Widows?
Yeah.
The man who went by Latino Heat in high school, Stevie.
There's some that still call me that.
You joined a little bit late.
What up, milkweed?
Cheese Zombies opening question was, did you embrace the 90s gangster scene at all? Did it have any effect on you?
It did have an effect on me, but in a very different way. So, like, Tom Haverford from Parks and Rec, Aziz's character, once said that, like, in Indiana, all culture, like, finds its way to Indiana last. Which, it's kind of true when he was like, these people just found out who Nirvana is. Like, I'm terrified to tell them what happens to Kurt Cobain.
Dumb. Crap.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, it's true, though. Like, it starts out on the coast and typically works its way to the middle. And I remember distinctly growing up, there was this radio station that said today's top music, and at the very end was without the rap. And it always kind of bothered me. Like,
no rap, no crap.
Well, yeah.
That's what it used to say.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Well,
what it used to say.
it really always bothered me. And it kind of shifted me into a way it's like, okay, but like, I want to listen to rap. Like, why can't I listen to rap? And so I definitely honestly pushed me harder to find music. I never embraced it like clothing wise, but I did embrace it like musically. Like, okay, like, who do I need to be listening to right now? And like, typically, like when Dre and Snoop Dogg teamed up for that album, which album was that, Bratt? Yeah,
Dre and Snoop Dogg?
No,
the
it was
Fire or Doggy Style?
What was it? Dre 2000? 2001. There we go. When that album came out, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. And I couldn't find it on any radio station where, like, you know, in Elkhart, Indiana. So long story short, musically, yes, I embraced it. Stylistically, I'm a pretty plain clothes dude.
Today's best music
without the rap.
Soul, hip hop, blues. You know what we're getting at here.
We know what they meant.
We definitely have Led Zeppelin.
We know what they meant.
And the Stones.
To be fair, it was top 40 music before kind of rap became more mainstream. So, and then they definitely switched when rap got bigger. So,
what station was this?
U93.
We know what they were saying.
DJ
if you wanted
Sticky
rap,
Boots.
you needed to go to what, 99.1?
I used to know where DJ Sticky Boots lived.
That's creepy.
Why?
Because you could hear him because of his sticky boots.
No, because he had a BMW that had a license plate that said Sticky Boots.
That's gross.
And I saw his apartment. My aunt lived like right underneath his apartment or something, or above him. They lived in the same building.
Well, this is Pappy. I didn't listen to a lot of DJ Sticky Boots. Cheese Zombie, I was not very affected by the 90s gangster scene, personally. I told a couple cross-country stories, though. Like, the one kind of, like, gangster-related story that I guess kind of happened to me or happened to our cross-country team is we had to retake our, I think, sophomore year team picture because a guy whose name was Alex Rodriguez, no relation to the baseball player, was flashing a Latin Kings gang sign when he took our team picture. And like the coach came to us and said, "Hey, as the captains, you have to talk to him about this." And we're like, "Hey, don't do that stuff, man." And he's like, "Oh, just, whatever." But literally no effect on me. I wore my flannels and my t-shirts from my graphic tees. That was pretty much the extent of my fashion. Brett, what about you? You had Jankos. Does that count?
No, and that was like not much, but yes,
not much. It's the most fabric ever.
Not for long, not for very long. But first of all, we all grew up, except for Corey, next to Goshen, which I did the math like a few years ago. We have the same percentage of Hispanic people in Goshen as New York, so it's not like we didn't grow up not around culture. So I reject what you're saying. But anyway, I was pretty big into, like, musically, the gangster rap thing. If you knew me in that time, mid to late 90s, all through college, still today, I am like a massive Tupac fan. So again, I didn't dress like that and think I could pull that off, but Tupac posters and listening to music all the time and just really into the lyrics and everything like that. So yes, in a way, but
do you guys have the DARE officer? I guess I'm mostly talking to like Corey, Brett, Josh, who came to your school
Officer Craig
to like discourage sagging pants. Like,
I don't remember that. Mostly just drugs, but yeah.
I remember there was like an assembly and he was like, "You know what sagging pants means, don't you?"
Yeah.
That means you're available in the prison yard, if you know what I mean.
Don Lemon said it on CNN 6 years ago, so it's got to be true.
Yeah, right.
It was a very prison Mike speech, if I remember.
I hate the Dementors.
Now Dare shows up and they OD on fentanyl, and all the kids are like, "Oh shit, don't do fentanyl."
Josh, gangster culture?
Oh man, we beat up Goshen Elkhart area a little bit already, what we've all gone through. But I will say, playing basketball, especially, I have this memory of being on an AAU team called Tiffany's. There are dozens of us. Tiffany is one of the local AAU teams that used to be in Northern Indiana, but there's a lot of older players when I played, and part of them taking me under their wing, even though most of them were white, was like introducing me to the gangster rap. Jay-Z's Big Pimpin', I think like DMX's Up in Here. It's kind of like that era. Honestly, some of the songs were a little bit harder than that, and I remember being pretty, I don't know, just like mesmerized by it. Like I didn't understand it very much. I was asking for a lot of clarification with the lyrics. Probably looked like an idiot. But I was also just kind of like, this is cool and different, and I know my parents don't like this, so I think that means I should like it. So it's like kind of in that era of my life. But Pappy, what I really wanted to do with my opening question was make a sub opening question.
All right.
Because this is something that's weighed heavily on me in my own life recently. I need to know where we all freaking stand on accents. Because recently, I thought I had been rocking a pretty good Indian accent, using it pretty funnily and tastefully.
What? Like India or dot or feather?
No, like India.
That's a good question.
The country.
At work?
And all, no, just like with Trace every once in a while, like hey, buddy.
Thank you, come again type thing.
Yeah, and she just like undressed me one day about this. And while she was undressing me about it, she also did an Indian accent that was way better than any I've ever done.
She was holding
just to
on
prove
that.
to me, just to prove to me that I wasn't special. With what
Sit
I
down
was
and
doing.
learn, motherfucker.
Josh, tell them about that Instagram video you sent me that you were like dying laughing about, and she pretty much accused you of being racist. It was really funny.
I'll pull that up, but before we talk about that, Brett, can we weigh in a little bit on just like what you guys think about doing accents in general? Like, maybe it is kind of racist.
Nah,
I don't get it. I
Nope.
honestly don't get it. I'm asking.
I wouldn't do it in public, but no, you can't.
I mean, everybody does an English accent.
I'll say what I want to say in my own house.
Hello, Governor.
I feel like if you're holding back in public, that doesn't say good things about it, though. You know.
I mean,
I just don't want to make people. I'm not trying to get any fights.
Stevie and Mikey gave me the pass to do the accent at the top of the pod.
Yeah.
It's an assumed pass.
Did we?
But like, Pap ain't heavy. He's my brother. Like, do what you want. But like, honestly, I'm more like offended by people from like Fort Wayne who have Southern twangy accents than people who do like Josh, who do like Indian accents for fun. So I don't see a big deal in it, Josh.
I don't
think it's
even know
tough
what
for
you're
me.
talking about, man.
Yeah, because I went to college with people who are like, I'm from Fort Wayne. I'm like, fuck, you are. It's like, I grew up an hour away from you, dumb shit. Quit talking like that.
What is that? Like, what am I not understanding about this, Stevie? Like, you're saying people fake accents out there?
Yes.
It's not very south.
They
Fort
think
Wayne
they're
is
so
barely-
country.
Fort
they're
Wayne.
in the South.
Okay, so you have to understand this about Indiana. Indiana, to me, has the most untouched accent you can have in the United States. There's no like extra umph on anything. It's the most plain Jane. Like if actors are gonna,
Yeah, we don't have like Kentucky, Tennessee. We don't have like Minnesota.
No, we are
Wisconsin.
just-
Okay, but this
It's
is
just, like,
from
vanilla.
your perspective.
I mean,
of
just
listening
listen
it
to
your
how
whole
me and
life.
Stevie talk.
Yeah.
We were raised in Indiana. We have no
we have
accent
zero
whatsoever.
accent.
No.
So like
You guys think we have no accent? This is bad. This is a misnomer.
We have an accent compared to other people.
I'm pretty positive that acting coaches like base like if British people are going to be like, you know, someone from the United States, they base their accent off like Indiana. Because we're extremely untouched and it's clean. So
It's like plain text HTML.
yeah,
type.
we are
There's no-
plain Jane accent across the board.
I don't
So
know.
you're saying
guys.
it's the best.
I thought
Okay.
like the transatlantic accent was like.
Hey there, Josh. How you doing?
Here comes Josh with his twangy sounds.
This is a normal way to talk everywhere
That's-
I go.
Hey ho
yeah,
hi.
in the 30s.
I just never heard anyone talk about an Indiana accent. In
Exactly,
that way.
because we don't have one.
Right.
We're untouched. So like
I tend to agree, but I feel like that's from my own perspective.
So when I drive an hour south and there's people wearing flannel and cowboy boots who grew up in a 2-story home in a subdivision who talk like this all of a sudden, it drives me fucking crazy.
But that's how, I mean, I knew someone from Alexandria, which is by Anderson when I was in college. And like, she definitely had like a twang, but I think it's like who you grew up with or I don't
That's
know, maybe
pretty
her
fake.
parents.
It sounds like country music channel.
My wife's family's from the South. So she got a twang every once in a while, but
That's fine. She's from the
it only
south.
comes out when she's yelling. Yeah, our parents are from
I will say when I do accents, I'm not doing them with hate in my heart towards the people. I think it's funny, but if
Yes.
I need to like wake up and realize that it's funny at the expense of someone else, then maybe that's like not worth it.
yeah, don't care.
Well, that's on you.
Yep, it is.
I think it's different if you're like making fun of someone, and like an individual versus like, hey, can you sound like someone from this place? Like, I don't know. Like, have you ever heard like a Baltimore accent? I can't do it, but it's like the most disgusting speech pattern.
That's become my least favorite accent. The Pennsylvania, Maryland,
I love
and, like,
the Baltimore
Eastern West
accent.
Virginia. I
Oh,
cannot.
it's
love
so
it.
gross.
Pat McAfee. I like him. It's like the T. I can't even.
What, the
do it.
Newport?
It's hard to. I have to find a good example, but
The Ravens. Or I
Just
can't even
listen to Omar from The Wire. Does it
My
perfectly.
daughter. Yeah.
In your worder?
Yeah.
Aren't you guys have you guys ever seen one of those videos where it's like what English sounds like to a non-native speaker, and it's like
Yeah.
Sounds like The Sims.
yeah, they're dancing and singing in faux English. That's really fascinating. But Brett, I was able to find that video. Do you want me to play that video?
Oh yeah.
That you were talking about from Instagram? Okay, so it's the meme says no one colon and then it's just blank and then it says Hispanic parents and it goes through a litany of it's so bad.
You better post this in the thread so me and Stevie can verify what's going on.
It's done by Hispanic people, though, I believe.
It starts with Papa John's, goes to Home Depot, AT&T, then Walmart.
Oh no!
But someone photoshops like the pronunciation into the signs, and then someone says it, and they're just like crack.
Papa Jans.
Dude, it says PAPAYON.
Yeah, I know. There's no J. I know.
But you have to listen to this, and I think that like a big part of the humor is just this person like laughing along. So just listen to this. Check it out.
Pabellon, Home Depot, AT&T, Walmart, Wendy, Burger King, McDonald's, Little Caesar, Starbucks Coffee, Costco Wholesale, Gold Star Member, Dunkin' Donuts, Iacone Box, Paris City, Pizza.
Okay. So you guys see.
I was gonna tag when this episode came out. I was gonna send it to Shea Serrano. I don't think I'm gonna anymore.
Yeah, no, do it.
That's like so wholesome and funny to me.
No, I do. It's more of just
that's funny.
Everything we've talked about.
Is that bad, Mikey? Is that terrible?
Is it a white guy? Who is it?
I think it's Hispanic people.
I think it's a Hispanic guy just kind of reading through it and laughing as he reads.
When you said Papa John's, I was like, oh yeah, I know where this is going.
I like where he says at Starbucks with an E.
I think the accent stuff's funny. Nothing's worse though than when like a white person all of a sudden like starts throwing some like zest when they're speaking normally, like, oh, Buenos Aires, Argentina, or España or something. Like, you know what I'm
I
talking
think that's natural though. I think that's really natural.
I hate when people do that.
I know,
like,
but I have a coworker who's like whiter than, a jug of milk, and he married someone from Venezuela and became 100% like bilingual. And like when he's out on the floor or, speaking to Hispanic people, like
that's different.
I know, but his accent,
Spanish.
his accent just changes and it comes out, but it sounds super natural.
I've heard people speak normally without a lisp, and then they change to Spanish, and they have that like Spain accent lisp while they speak Spanish.
I think you have to put the accent on if you're going to like take on the language, Like I don't know Spanish. I know a couple slang words. But like I feel like if I did speak Spanish, I would try to use like that accent so they'd understand me better. I don't know.
It just
I wouldn't
sounds
be like,
better too.
Orale. I'd be like, orale.
Orale.
Do you have any Spanish in you, Corey?
Orale.
Chale.
What'd you say, Brett?
Do you have any Spanish, Hispanic, Latina in you?
Yeah, my grandfather's Hispanic.
Oh,
nice. So 3-3 here.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Hey.
Got a bunch of AVers up here in
the
here.
AVs reverse La Onda. Yeah.
You don't want the race war.
All right, we're getting into it now, Corey. I want to start with you though. You, I think you were the only one who had seen this movie, potentially, and you were very excited when our friend Cheese Zombie picked it. I like to ask you this question. How would you describe Blood In, Blood Out to someone who hadn't seen it before?
I would describe it like a mob epic, but one that is kind of unknown. Now, I say kind of unknown because my film bro friends like you might not have seen it until we did this podcast.
Whoa,
Some of
there,
you,
friend.
anyway.
Listen, I started watching movies when I saw Whiplash. I never went back.
Yeah, it's a perfect era to start. But this movie, it has, like, my SoCal friends, like, everyone knows this movie. Like, in Chicano neighborhoods, everyone knows this movie. And it's funny, too, because when you talk to someone about this movie that knows this movie, like, especially out here in the LA County area, like, they get really hyped up about it. Like, people want to talk about this movie. So that's, like, the reaction you get among Blood In, Blood Out fans. Like, everyone gets super excited and they start quoting it. Give me some fucking chon chon. But for guys like you or, you know, other people that, you know, are into movies, but just, you know, this one kind of escaped them somehow because it doesn't have, like, the notoriety as, like, Goodfellas or The Godfather. I'd say it's that similar vibe of, like, the kind of like long crime epic, epic mob movie. So, you know, it's like long sweeping. It spans over a very long period of time. It follows multiple characters. I think it hits all those beats. You know, it's dark when it needs to be dark. But the thing about this movie is it has this weird fucking humor to it. Like this weird, what the actor Damian Chapa, who plays Miklo, would call dark humor. But to me, it's just like ridiculous humor. Some things are so absurd that you can't help but laugh.
Dude, how much did you probably loved when the kid killed himself, right? Correct you up?
No, no, that's exclusive to my girl.
Okay.
Brett's coming in hot with the death.
But
Which is
like, good.
Well, I had never heard of this before, so I had no idea what we were getting into. And we record these on a Thursday. I watched it on Tuesday, and I was all fucking in. And then, Josh, you started watching it, and I think you were like 15 minutes in, and you said this is 2 steps away from the room, which blew my fucking mind.
The first 10 to 20 minutes of this movie are bad.
Said
They're
a
bad.
half step away.
The acting is awful. It does get better and better as the movie goes on. But I'm with Josh on that part alone.
Miko, tell those wetbacks to step on her or they ain't gonna get paid. Did you hear what I said?
I heard you!
Get their asses moving. I got 2 more trucks on the way.
Already humping it. You ordered too much.
That's $1,500 worth of mud. Now you tell them to get it down or they can pay for it.
A mistake. Tell them yourself.
Don't ever take the side of the Mexican over your father. Just tell him.
Fuck you!
You're a grateful little punk. I'm the one that kept you out of jail.
You love them so much, get a broom and you can get the same thing they're getting paid.
I'll get a man to run this room.
Son of a bitch! Find yourself another slave, Dad! I'm going home!
Get through! You're fired! I'm calling your probation officer!
Well, Miklo's dad sets a bad precedent at the beginning of the movie, right? I think that's like the most notable bad acting in the movie. He's like so over the top and overacting in Miklo's flashback. But I think aside from him, it's not bad in the beginning. Personal take.
What made you say that, Josh? Half step away from the room.
I think the biggest thing, number one, is Miklo's presence at the beginning of this movie. Yeah. He's like a post-30 white dude.
Playing a 17-year-old.
That tree is East close to me. It's good to be home.
Que no. Hey, ¿sabes qué? My paintings made it to the finals.
De veras, man? You really made it?
Simón, and all of Califas, I'm still in. You
Órale. Te levantaste. They'll give the prize to you, Holmes. You're the best.
Not bad for a Chicano, eh?
Que no? Oye, Crucito.
Pasó, sir?
You still have your quills and inks?
Simón, ¿por qué?
All right, get down, James Brown. Put the needle in, huh? I want my VL tattoo.
Hey, take a look in the mirror, Will. Does it snow in L.A.? Does a white boy get a VL placazo?
No, he don't. I'd have my placa now if the judge and told me these laws.
Charlie, you wouldn't have shit, milkweed. Some serious shit, Holmes. It don't wash off. First sign of trouble, you be running back to your white boy daddy in Las Vegas.
Ya, vato, déjalo. Oye, Miklo, just wait till your number's called, eh? You'll get one.
In Indiana,
La jura.
trying to blend in with the other 17-year-olds who are Hispanic. It's just not working. I think the acting in general in this movie isn't its strong point.
Same.
And like I say that with love, okay? Because I've changed my tune after watching further than the first 15 minutes, Pappy. But I will say too, like I don't think the cinematography is like great in this movie either. And so I think you put all those three things together, like I like what they show, Stevie. I don't think every frame is a piece of art, you know. This is more bare bones. This is
You haven't seen American Me, Josh.
I haven't seen that. Why do you keep mentioning that?
Critically rated than this.
No, it's not. 100% no, it's not.
On Metascore, it's about 20 points higher.
Talk about poor cinematography. Watch that movie. That movie looks like a home video. Like that movie and this movie are like purely identical, and this one looks like a masterpiece compared to that one.
Okay. So that movie, is it like riddled with like kind of like maybe white balance mistakes, super shaky, shit out of frame, stuff like that?
William Forsythe, who was in The Rock and is like whiter than white paint, plays the Miklo character with 100% more offensive like accent. It's a hard watch. You should watch it sometime.
That is William Forsythe. That's right.
Yeah, it's a horrifically hard watch.
American Me, guys, is the other Mexican mafia movie, except they actually use the actual name of the Mexican mob, which is La M. Starring and directed by Edward James Olmos, and got a lot of people killed in the production of that movie by the Mexican mafia.
And yeah, he had a hit put out on him too.
Wow.
Going back to the cinematography though, Pep, we've talked about when you're an indie movie, you use the scenery to your advantage. And I do think they do that because like at the beginning and end of the movie, you think of a lot of the images of the Dia de los Muertos parades. And it is cool. They're using that. You get a real like slice of life. But if you're looking at just like shot by shot, none of them are like there's not like great sunset vistas or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just very much ground level shooting, I guess. Does that make sense at all, Pappy?
What about the tree?
The tree. We get a whole helicopter ride for end credits to get back to the tree.
Yeah, bro.
That tree is East Los to me, Holmes.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get more positive, guys, because I love this fucking movie, and I'm so sorry that I didn't like the first beginning of it. I'm sorry.
Josh, this movie like follows, like even in the beginning, it follows the rule of a glorious 90s movie.
I think that's Josh's problem is he's not taking into account that this is a 90s movie. Name a 90s movie that has like amazing cinematography that you're just like, wow, what? That's fucking incredible. Like this is just a dad. This is a dad afternoon fall asleep on the couch type movie.
4-hour block on TNT.
5.5.
This is Jugger level cinematography, though.
Oh my!
No, Josh,
dude, you are.
That's just not true. There were whole things in Jugger you couldn't see.
I'm gonna shank Josh the next time I see him.
And I would also say the acting's
We all like
not
Jugger,
bad.
except Pappy, so it's fine.
I don't think the acting's that bad. Damian Chapa is good as Miklo, like we mentioned. He's white-skinned Latino guy. Also, Mikey, arguably the most handsome man I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh yeah,
dude, he's so good looking.
I was gonna say, and he looks like a different person like every 20 minutes in this movie, but it's still the most handsome man in the whole shebang. Like,
has he got a Cristiano Ronaldo thing going on?
Yes, definitely.
His jaw could cut diamonds.
I believe it's five movie club for him as well.
Really?
Without Miss Congeniality?
Yeah, we got Coco.
Oh, we gotta do that. That's
Dude, is he in Stigmata?
Coco, Doctor Strange, this movie, Demolition Man, and crap.
Catwoman?
Catwoman, yes.
Catwoman.
Oh.
Yeah. There's no way I didn't bring up Blood In, Blood Out on the Catwoman podcast. We got to give that a re-listen. This dude plays a cop so fucking often that he should just be a cop.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a cop in Law and Order?
Yes.
I would assume he is a cop in real life, guys. Probably is, like, honestly, for real.
But Corey, can you tell us a little bit about Paco, who he is? Maybe even a little bit here in this opening third of the movie.
Yeah. Paco Aguilar, El Gallo Negro, and he's got a great right uppercut.
You do this to people in Beverly Hills, eh?
Take off the glasses, please. You look familiar. You got a record?
Yes, sir, he's got a record. He's got a great record. The Black Rooster, 13 KOs. Paco Aguilar, El Gallo Negro. He's got a great right uppercut.
You, used to train at the boys' club, didn't you?
2 years, 2nd Division Golden Gloves, till he broke his wrist.
Yeah, I remember.
See? Really with this.
This your car?
Well, I just painted it, sir. What do you think?
It looks nice. Listen, just raise up the bumper a few inches, okay?
Like your uppercut. Thank you, officer. We will, sir.
That's all right, Joe. Let's go.
Pinche culero didn't have that fucking badge between us. We see who ass was who.
Shut the fuck up, Iseo.
Don't be using my boxing anymore, eh?
Oh, don't be stupid as he just trying to save our asses,
Yeah, I let you put my hat off my head once, Vato, but you better keep your fucking face out of my business before I put you down, milkweed.
Yeah, Vato. Come on, let's get this Ramfla back.
Shh. You know it.
Paco is like what you would say like the leader of Miklo's gang is, which is Votos locos, right? They're just some teenagers that live in East Los that they're in a gang, but it seems to be mostly just like a territorial dispute gang. They just kind of like they claim certain territory by tagging an alley, and that kind of causes things to escalate for them. But Benjamin Bratt is definitely like the most hot-headed. You know, he always is kind of pissed off. He has a bad attitude. He's definitely like the angriest and quickest to react of the bunch early on.
Early on, yes. Mm-hmm. I think Miklo or Mikla. I think he actually reminded me of Scrappy Doo. He literally takes everything as offense and like wants to scrap with everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, especially like when he loses his leg. It's like you can't. Which he forgets as an actor that he's supposed to not have a leg, but we'll get to that, I'm sure, at some point.
He's got a lot to prove, I feel like, right? Like I feel like the Scrappy Doo syndrome.
You got to prove like double what everybody else does.
Yeah, exactly. To prove that he's part of the gang. Like he's the one escalating things. He's the one breaking the what do you call it? Like rear windshield of the car when they're tagging their alley. You know, this movie's really made up of the three. We said Miklo, we mentioned Paco. Josh, you want to tell us about Cruz, the artist of the group?
Yes. He's so chill. I love this guy.
I like Cruz.
He goes through ups and downs in the movie, and I think we'll get to his like end arc probably later on because it's pretty important. But he's kind of like, there's a cliche in these movies of people growing up in the hood or in like the poor part of town where like one of them kind of has a transcendent talent, and that's him. He can, it's painting, right? It's painting specifically. Mm-hmm. He's like a really good painter, and what's kind of like a cool meta thing that I've been trying to think a little bit more of since I watched the movie is like how his art changes through the years. And he's kind of always painting his friends, the like lifestyle of the streets. He's like kind of a reflection of the culture that he lives in, and the tension kind of ramps up, Pappy, when that culture that he's like portraying butts up against like this upper crust society, because he becomes a successful painter, but his paintings are kind of expensive. He has like this agent, and there's like rich white people buying this that are kind of making light of maybe his situation or something. It's a very early on tension with his art, right?
Listen, Janice, I need a cash advance. Can you help me?
I've already given you 3 advances.
I need some money, Janice. What good is it to have a show if I don't sell anything?
Cruz, most of your paintings are already spoken for by important collectors.
What?
You'll be completely sold out by the end of the night.
Sold out? All of it? Well, then why can't I get some money tonight, then?
Doesn't work that way. The checks go to the accountant to be processed.
No, I need some money now. Do you understand me? Tonight. Come on. I sold out, so I deserve some, right?
You've got a brilliant career ahead of you, Cruz. But all that talent can go right in the garbage. Think about that when you're getting high with your friends tonight.
Please, no Baptist sermons, okay, Janice? Strictly business, remember?
There's that funny line where it's like, it's too bright in here, it's too much white, or something like that.
You made me look like a cholo.
Well, that old man looks at his art and he's like, you and your friends, you look so fuerte. You make them look so noble, these savages, or something like that. It's really off-putting.
God.
Mm-hmm. Well, those 3 mains, in their arcs, their stories, make up this 3-hour epic, like Corey mentioned, gang movie. So we're gonna have to like take a little bit of a 10,000-foot view of things that happen, but feel free to stop me. We mentioned that there's a confrontation that happens between these 2 rival gangs. A shootout ensues based on this. Miklo, the sniper shot, ends up killing a couple people from the what's the rival gang, like 3 Ps? Is that
Tres puntos.
3 points.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Corey.
And even though his probation is set to end in a couple of days, he has to go back to jail. San Quentin. Brett, what are some of the dynamics happening here in San Quentin?
Got a hot tip, Al. How's my credit? Rather, your credit's as tight and firm as... Oh, come on. Don't be that way.
Nothing like popping that cherry, huh?
Bet right of your mouth. Lakers won in overtime, Al. Oh! Give him a greener. No, the other greener.
Oh, man. So, the first thing he learns, the wise words he learns from a guy who within 6 minutes tries to rape him, is that while they're all different gangs on the outside, they stay together inside because, embarrassingly, I can't think of the name of the gang he's trying to get into, but...
La Onda.
La Onda. But there's also their take, they're the AV, which are based on the area. I'll just say AB. You can look that up. And then the BGA is based on Black Guerrilla Federation.
Black Panthers.
So,
BGF.
BGF, yeah. So it's, they have very relative peace because they all do business with each other. But it seems like the hierarchy is like maybe the white gang, the Aryan gang gets kind of the preferential treatment because they pay off more of the guards and they have more of the positions. But I mean, Billy Bob Thornton, was he not made for this role in 1992?
Dude.
This cast is pretty stacked. There's a lot of people in this.
Yeah, Del Rey Lindo, I think he's a 3-movie club. I think he was in Jugger and something else. He might even be 4 movies.
He plays the gang expert in the prison.
He's actually the leader of the BGA.
Oh, wait, who is the gang expert guy?
Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames.
Okay. Ving Rhames,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Edit that out.
Hey, who was the warden? The real warden of San Quentin
Yeah.
at the time.
Whoa.
But yeah, so they actually did film, I believe, in one of the wings of San Quentin, and that's a dynamic. That's what I would say. Pappy is a dynamic, and he's trying to prove himself to La Onda throughout the first third of the movie, first act. So I would say that, and they're kind of trying to navigate, keep the peace, but also get more of the piece of pie so their lives get better.
Mm-hmm. And even though Miklo's been in prison before, he hasn't been in San Quentin, so he has to kind of learn the ropes here. Corey, can you tell us a little bit about Popeye?
Popeye's a fucking lunatic, man. Popeye is crazy. There's some really crazy characters in jail. Al, I'm sure we'll talk about Al soon, but Popeye, he's kind of explaining everything to Miklo, but like he's interacting with people along the way. And Popeye just has this weird fucking cadence that's like, it's like almost like not reproducible. Like the shit he says is crazy, and the way he says it is crazy.
That's smokes for you. I don't really smoke cigarettes. Pues que no importa, in the pinta, that's like cash. Got a little something else. Some juju.
Man, I smoke that now, but
hey, you don't mind if I keep you under my wing for a little while, I mean, I gotta take care of you, eh? Hey, we homeboys, right?
Okay, man, those rules, vato. Gracias,
Órale,
okay?
Simón. You white bitch, give me some chon-chon.
Stay away from me.
You get nothing for free in here, punk.
Chinga tu madre.
Huh?
Okay.
Huh? That's right, give it up. Oh! ¡Che puta! La quieres en las duras, huh? You want me to take it? Huh? You want me to rape you, puto? Huh?
And, Popeye, he's got his own hustle in prison. He's like a pimp, right? So, like, that's how he encounters Miklo. Like, Miklo's getting accosted by the jailhouse prostitutes. And he shows up and he says, "Hey, Cinderella, go find yourself a fella. You're on the clock, bitch." But like everything Popeye says to me is just gold. He's just such a weird dude, but he's also like a nasty, greasy motherfucker that like you don't want to be around. As are a lot of the people in this prison, right?
Yeah.
Miklo has to deal with this guy at some point, and he doesn't like it. And he comes off to Miklo like they're going to be close because they actually are both from the same street gang. They're both from Votos Locos. But as Popeye explains, in the joint, that's all fucking different. Like, that doesn't matter. Basically, all the Chicano gangs, they roll together. And they have formed La Onda, which at this point in the story, and I think at this point in history, is just trying to, like, gain power in prison. Because it's predominantly white at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a thriving economy in this prison.
Yeah.
Well,
the original FanDuel.
You can trade dollars for gambling. You can trade cigarettes, or you can trade
a lot of things just revolve around drugs. Apparently, drugs are the big thing that makes the money flow in this place.
Stop looking at boobs and look at the boob tube. Pulls in the worst TV of all time, but it's probably amazing back then.
It's in the 70s, man.
4 channels.
Yeah, it's a lot of ass, gas, or grass here to get along with people. And there's a character, Al, Josh, who's obsessed with the ass. Can you tell us a little bit about Al? Who also, by the way, like my real teeth look exactly like Al's. If I didn't have caps in, I would have the exact same smile.
What the hell?
Yeah. Monkey bars got me, 3rd grade.
Al is living in Lunch Lady Land.
Yeah, he's got a lot of power.
Hoagies and grinders.
Meatloaf sandwich.
Lapido. Anyway.
Sorry, no tortillas.
You're catching a ride on the wrong train. You ought to be up here at the front of the line, ahead of those jungle bunnies.
I don't take no free tickets on no one's train.
Now, you take a ticket, or you get run over. It's better to ride up front, first class, eat with the white folks. Know what I mean?
This man is like the head honcho of the kitchen, which not only is probably like a good job that people are jealous of, but also he's using the job as leverage against people he does and doesn't like. Mm-hmm. So if you're someone he does like, aka someone with white pasty skin, he gives you a nice juicy plump pork chop. And if you are someone with more more pigmentation, if you're of darker color, he will give you no pork chop or give you some sort of bullshit excuse or give you like, he gives someone a pork chop that looks like it's just a like one bite of another pork chop that had fallen off or something. He gives you a piece of shit on your plate and he tells you to like move along. And it seems like the guards have his back too. So he's just like this presence. He's a dick about it. He's getting money for favors. He's just using this position of power. And also, Pappy, he seems like he's 6'6". He's just like a big dude, right? Like a big 70s dude.
Big, horny dude. And Stevie, he's lured in by Damian Chapa's baby blue eyes, right? Like as soon as he sees him, he's keyed in. He's like,
he's
this
a real John Wayne Gacy type character.
This is my guy right here.
I don't know if prison's like this, but is everyone that horny? I feel like there's a lot of immediate horniness.
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
I think if you've been there a while, you're definitely horny. But it's also a power thing. Well, it's a power thing for Popeye. I wouldn't say it's a power thing for Al.
I mean, I guess, but I feel like this immediately, like from the rape scene to, Big Al immediately falling in love with those baby blues of Miklo. It's a very kind of strange dynamic we're immediately hit with, but Miklo's all in, wants to be, a part of La Onda. And so that's when the plan with Montana and Geronimo is to take out Big Al for Miklo to pledge his life to La Onda.
Mm-hmm. Do you like Mikey Montana, the character? He's supposed to be this guy full of charisma who he's like a short guy, but
he's like the godfather of La Onda, and he does hold a lot of charisma, and I like the scenes that he's in because he's telling Miklo to like later on in the movie to like if you want to prove to them at your parole hearings that you're like really changing, you got to like get an education. So he's doing that kind of stuff. He's like applying himself to different programs while inside prison, and like he eventually gets his he gets parole because GED, he gets his GED, he gets all this kind of stuff because he listens to this guy. And I don't know what this guy did to stay in prison, but like I think he's a lifer or something because he seems pretty normal now. Like he's very smart and encourages a lot of these guys to like apply themselves and get their GED and stuff while in prison. But he holds a lot of charisma and he's the leader of La Onda, and it's pretty devastating end to his story later on. But yeah.
Tomorrow is your day, widow. Tonight, you must read the Black Book.
These are the killing points. The arrows show where a man can be killed. Hit a man here or here, and he dies slowly and painfully. Hit a man here or here, and he dies instantly. When you get to the kitchen in the morning, look in the largest stock pot. Geronimo will be watching.
If you're successful tomorrow, you'll become one of us. If you fail, you die.
He makes a mistake here.
Yeah.
He orders Big Al to be killed. And I truly think this is like really good writing. I think that's directly why he kind of gets killed himself at the end.
What?
It's like,
explain it.
He ordered that hit on Big Al, and that's like a big part of the reason why the Aryan Nation or whatever is like so freaking pissed and like won't let it go. And that allows Milko. It's convoluted because you think it actually is.
You call him Melko? Like leche?
Milkweed. Sorry. It's convoluted because like most of the movie you're led to believe that the Aryan Nation group caused this assassination, and then for a while you think that like whatever, like who did it kind of changes, but like in the end it ends up being milkweed. But I think the whole reason he did it and is able to like hide behind the motive is because there was such a strong motive for the Aryan Nation to do it because of this hit that happened on Big Al at the beginning of the movie. So like I really feel like that writing kind of comes full circle and it's good is what I'm trying to say, Stevie. Does that make sense?
I gotcha. It makes sense.
There's a lot of things that like fall back on themselves when you watch it a second time. Like, who's the leader of the BGA? What's his name?
Bonafide.
Bonafide?
That's a fine fucking comb you got.
Yeah, they point out his comb a lot, which ends up being a huge integral part later in the movie. But Corey, while all this is happening to Melko in prison, things are things are not all hunky dory on the outside. What's happening to our other two main characters?
Well, Paco was arrested along with Miklo, but we don't see him for a while. And eventually we see that he got the option to join the military because it was Miklo that killed someone, right? Obviously, Paco did assault at least one person, but he joined the military and his path leads him to the straight and narrow. He eventually becomes a cop, but there's kind of a cool scene where it's like a misdirect into like the route he went in his life as the years pass. Right, we see him looking like a fucking weird, strung out hippie Grateful Dead type, and he's like buying drugs from some fucking very unusual ladies. And it turns out he's there to do a drug bust, and it's kind of a cool reveal. You know, we get Tom Wilson in a fake goatee, which is kind of funny to see.
Yeah.
PCP is very explosive. Boom. I hate to lose such a handsome customer.
Ooh, mommy. That feels good. Pero cuidado con el chorizo. We might need it for later. So, did you really make this stuff? You a chemist?
I worked in a medical lab. Simon?
Órale.
Hey, baby. Have you ever had a threesome?
Hey, baby, let's take care of the deal first, okay?
What's the matter? Too much for you?
No, I just like business before pleasure.
He's a fucking...
Rolly! Get in here now!
He becomes a cop, right? So that's kind of like his path. Everything led him in, I guess, what you would call like the right direction. Cruz, meanwhile, has continued painting, but like his back injury, I think, is the main reason that he ends up kind of losing it in terms of like his career path, because he ends up becoming basically an opioid addict because his back is like completely fucked from the gang fight at the beginning.
That gang fight looms so large too, because not only does it break his back, causes his opium issues or whatever, but like one thing that I kept remembering that I wish they would have talked about more is when that shootout happened, Miklo went out of his way to stop Paco from capping someone in their face, like really early on. Like he was ready to execute this dude.
A dead dog goes belly up when it's done.
Right. He would have been he would have been the one arrested.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Familia.
He would have been the one looking at life in jail, 20 to life or whatever they say. I wish that would have been brought up because like Miklo really saved his ass in doing that and then shot the person who was trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they touch on that at the very end,
yeah.
There is some blame to be had on Paco's part, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Well, Paco was like the baddest guy in ELO. That's what they say he is, right? Like he's the ringleader of this little group of people. He has a lot of influence. There's also like I don't know, is Cruz, is it Cruz's brother or Paco's brother who ODs?
Paco's.
Both.
Both?
They're they're stepbrothers.
Yeah. Actually, on Letterboxd it says half brothers, but I'm almost positive that's incorrect. They're stepbrothers, so it would be Paco's brother.
That's Paco's brother, though. I think it's Paco's actual like blood brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he says he liked Cruz more because Cruz paid attention to him. So
So Cruz was from the mom's first marriage or something? And
Cruz was the son of the dad. Paco was
Crucito.
the son of the mom. And then I believe Juanito was the son of both of the parents.
But Brett, this is right up your alley. The child death.
What is
pretty sad, huh?
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, I won't point out that he should be old. He should be old enough.
Oh my god!
I feel like he should be old enough to know not to do that. But hey, it's unfortunate. Unfortunate that stuff happens, and he idolizes his brother, his stepbrother Cruzito. And when they're all passed out, high off heroin, he goes and he puts a needle in his arm. And unfortunately, the mom and the dad are the ones that find him. I think the dad was there. And him and, was it Tuco from Breaking Bad?
Tight.
Oh shit, is that Tuco?
That's Tuco, yeah.
Holy
Tuco, son of
shit.
And, so he ODs. I mean, he didn't really have a chance. He never stood a chance. So I don't.
That scene is pretty wrenching when the mom,
and also on the free YouTube video, that's where the audio cuts out. I don't know if you guys all watched it on YouTube.
Well, that was when they were getting high, when they were injecting, which I thought was an artistic choice at first from the link that we used, and it still works.
They were just clearly playing a Hendrix song that could not be played with the copyright of YouTube. But the scene I'm talking about that's wrenching, the mom is like talking to her son and begging him to kind of like reanimate or something.
Reanimate.
Well, she says bring him back. Yeah.
Shoot him with meth. Get him.
She's like, start moving. It's okay. Please come back. It's really sad.
It is pretty wrenching.
Mm-hmm.
If I was making fun of the bad acting earlier, like some of these scenes like really make up for it. It feels real. It's bad. Hated it.
Mm-hmm.
No, people definitely make life decisions in this movie that are like, holy fuck, what are you doing? Like, you get some anxiety watching a lot of this movie. It's kind of incredible how it does that with like how also not great the acting is. So it's kind of funny, but I think it works.
Well, Steve, I know you're like me. To me, the art scene when Cruz has his art show and then his friends come over, that gave me hives. Like,
Dude,
I don't know why.
Hives.
Dude, it made me so nervous. It's like they're gonna blow this for him. I don't know. You got the same anxiety from that scene that I felt?
Yes, and this movie does something that I appreciate so much, which is it's not a Hilary Swank movie. And the fact that like we don't have a white savior to be like the in-between, which is like typical Hilary Swank hood movies are, she's kind of like our vehicle into the hood and everything's going great until it doesn't. And then worlds are torn down apart. This is very the opposite. We're like with Cruzito a lot of the time and kind of just to watch his self-destruction. That art gallery scene alone where he leaves and comes back is like hives times 1,000. It was really hard to watch.
He really is a genius, though. I mean, he's never even
Belinda! Here's my ticket. Hey, Belinda, mija, you're too uptight. Come on, this is my show. Hey. Frankie, empaca. Te quiero presentar. I want to present you my friends. Lois, Gerald. These are the poliboses.
You have a good time tonight, huh?
Hey, Cruzito. Cruz. Hey, Holmes. Hey.
You made me look like a cholo, ese. Chale, como un chulo, culo. Ey, ¿qué le dijo una nalga a la otra? El del medio es hippie. ¡Ya no le vendas! Vénteme, carnal, te mato tu chingazo. Los piloreo aquí, la jefita, mata la jefita.
Daniel, get them on their feet and out the door. Artists, folks. Just artists being artists. Drink up, enjoy yourselves. We got art on the walls, on the floor. This is happening. We are going to read about this tomorrow in the paper. Let's celebrate artistic freedom.
You had all this planned, didn't you?
That's
Part of
right.
the exhibit.
I love the rich white people like, oh, this is part of the exhibit, huh?
Oh, this is fantastic.
Artists being artists, folks.
Life imitates art.
But she
Brett.
also calls his agent, Pappy.
She
if we can
knows.
just talk about her character for a 2nd.
Mhm.
She totally calls out, like, I'm going to give you this money and you're going to go get high with your friends. And when you're watching the movie, you're like, no, Cruz is like, he has to pay off this debt and he does deserve some of this money. He's not going to just go get high. And it's like smash cut into him, like coming back into the party, just giggling like he's the highest motherfucker around. He's laying on the floor laughing.
Him and Tuco got that Walter White shit going.
I hated all that.
Hated it like it made you uncomfortable, or you didn't?
Yeah,
think
uncomfortable.
It was good? Yeah.
What's he on?
Yeah, what were they on? That could not have just been weed.
Whippets and alcohol?
Nos.
Nos. Now we're talking.
Got some chocolate chip cookies and all hyped up from the sugar.
It's just cookies, eh?
Mountain Dew.
Brett, Miklo gets out of prison. He gets his parole, like we talked about. And he gets a fine, upstanding job in society, hitting a tire with a hammer. How does this go?
Smack at a tire.
So, yeah, he's actually got screwed by Popeye. Popeye said they had a place for him, but he really just had a place like on a couch or a daybed.
It's like Michigan all over again.
Everybody jerks off on that couch. You can sleep there.
He's really, really worried. He does not want to go back to prison. He gets really mad. He, threatens everybody he sees, like he does throughout the whole movie, pretty much. Unfortunately, he does get a job. He's working really hard. But, of course, this happens. I'm sure this happens when people do hire felons. I'm not saying it happens very often. I have no idea. But, they take advantage of the fact that they're felons, and he's stealing money from his check. And he's like, oh, you have a problem with that? Maybe I'll just call the parole board. It's sick and disgusting, but he does it. And he's like, why am I living this straight life? Why am I trying so hard and I'm still getting screwed? Well, don't be a felon in the first place. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But so he's just like trying. He's really, really trying hard. But then him and Cruzito come back, and I don't know, local drug dealer, local kingpin type is there, and he's trying to get Popeye to do some big job. And actually, Stevie, I don't know if you knew this or not, his bodyguard there, not the crazy bodyguard, but his other guy, you know what I'm talking about? That's actually Paco from Bloodsport, the kickboxer.
I know who that. I recognize him immediately.
Yeah. Two movie club.
I started doing the Knuckles thing, like when he puts them out. I was like, okay, I know who that is. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was funny. So anyway, yeah, and that's kind of the next catalyst into, I wouldn't say the next act, but like another how things change again, which gets him sent back to prison eventually. But somebody else can take that.
Yeah, the whole armored car robbery, I got major Heat vibes.
Oh yeah, actually before Heat though, but.
No, yeah, it felt like something out of Heat, like especially like the dynamic between the cop and the guy who's doing it.
I thought he was
going
gonna
shoot out with the guns.
Who thought he was gonna Point Break it like big time?
Oh, me.
I was waiting. I was like,
I thought that gun was going right.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he didn't. Credit to them, they didn't do it.
No, he just shot his leg off, apparently.
The action is really cool and kind of reminds me of... do you guys remember that scene in Jake Gyllenhaal's Nightcrawler? When they're like in the diner and some people are getting held up and it's all kind of like... It's kind of like that. They're staking out this parking lot. It just looks hyper realistic. And I get the feeling they're probably just actually shooting at a mall. But then this van, this all creepy looking, you like kind of zoom in on it and you see the guys putting on masks and they look like fucking creepy as hell. And then they pop out and immediately shit starts going wrong and people are getting shot and scattering and you don't know who's who or where they're going. It's how these situations probably go down, and it's pretty freaky.
Popeye snitched, by the way.
Yeah, that's an important note. And I thought Popeye said the driver was in on it, and I'm pretty sure the driver gets capped like immediately when they rob this armored van. So I don't know like what his involvement.
They come out guns a-blazing. It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, he probably did know. They just killed him first.
Listen, yeah, this is the scam. You're gonna get shot and die, and then we're gonna take your money.
Oh
Are you
my
in?
God.
Classic Joker scam.
Yeah, exactly.
This, of course, lands Miklo back in prison with one leg. And Corey, this is where the story gets really complicated and intricate, and there's like these different factions vying for power. But this is my favorite part of the movie in here. Can you maybe, what's at stake here between these the BGA, the black gang, the AVs, which are the white gang, and La Onda, which is the Hispanic gang? What's going down
AV
here?
kids, oh man, they're crazy.
Fucking nerds. Yeah, so like the power struggle is getting more intense because now drugs are involved. And like the drug trade in this story was pretty much monopolized by the white gang, the AV. But now La Onda is starting to become involved. And, you know, it's like your classic, like kind of Goodfellas, like complications, right? Like once you get drugs involved, things just start going really fucking bad for everyone. And a lot of people start dying. And I think that's what you mean with like the complexity of it.
And like Goodfellas, sorry to interrupt, but like the rise of cocaine as a recreational drug in America, right? Like coinciding with...
Cocaine is America's cup of coffee.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
That was a white guy that said that. Or what?
Two people said that. The guy said that in the law library.
Oh, yeah, that's how we knew they were working together.
The market is there. Cocaine is America's cup of coffee.
Órale que no.
Simón.
Oye, check it out. I'm making so much feria right now. It's making Miklo's gambling book look like bubblegum change.
We don't start wars to become dope pushers.
Yeah, but there's like kind of a difference here, this prison stint with Miklo, in that Montana is kind of going through that thing that happens to a lot of people when they get older, where they start to like calm down, right? Yeah. And they start to like think more intelligently and less brashly. And Montana really doesn't want them to be involved in the drug trade, despite the power and money that it will give them. And Miklo does. Now, Miklo kind of like gets with a fellow that we see a lot in this movie named Mike.
Magic
Mike.
That's right. They call him Magic in the movie.
Money
so
Mike.
Magic.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, it's Channing Tatum, basically, with a mustache. He is pretty big, I'll say that. But they kind of like start forming their own plan, like kind of behind Montana's back. At least they get the ball rolling on that pretty early on. And then the movie like forgets about it for about 45 minutes, and then it reminds you about it. But as a kind of an aside, there's a moment that I love in this movie, and it's when they're formulating the plan in the shower. It's Magic and it's Miklo. And it's just a line that I've always liked, I've always latched onto. But like, as much as I've quoted this movie with other fans, I've never had anyone like pull this one out of nowhere. And it's when Miklo is talking to Mike and he says, he's like, Onda should take the money left in the gambling book and make a buy. And it's just Magic's reaction. He goes, yeah. It's the way he says yeah. If you put in the clip, you'll know exactly what I mean.
Whether we like it or not, the dope business is where it's at, Magic. If the ABers and the BGers control it, they control everything,
including us.
Fucking ASA. Carlitos was right.
No, he was stupid. We're selling out to the AV. Wanda should take the money left in the gambling book and make a buy.
Yeah.
I know a connection.
But the council won't approve it.
We should do it anyway.
You want to die, SA?
If I have to, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stevie. What did Montana do? This is a good Stevie question. Why does he not get to see his daughter for 14 years? Because he's by far the most, I would say, out of even all of these gangs, he's like the most measured person, right? The most steady hand. He's trying for peace, or at least trying to have some racial unity between the two minority groups to fight the dominant AVs.
To me, like, what did he do to land in prison?
Yeah. Stevie question. Speculate.
So to me, when Montana probably went in there, he was probably very young, probably was a part of an unjust system that did not care his involvement in something or not. And I imagine he was with people where someone died, and because of the color of his skin or his last name, they threw the absolute book at him. And over time, he realized he was never getting to set foot, on free ground again. That's like what I think. I don't think he killed somebody. I don't think he was a trigger man, but I think he was in a circumstance where people he knew were.
Mm-hmm.
And he was kind of at peace with it.
And he ain't no rat. He's just going to take the fall for...
I mean, not saying like he even did it, but just the fact that he was there, they probably threw the book at him.
He had one unpaid parking ticket.
Can't fight City Hall, boys. They got him.
Yeah, I don't know. I love these different factions and the infighting of the factions fighting for power. Apparently, I think Steve, you told me this. There's a 5-hour cut of this.
Oh my god!
Laser disc.
I want all of it.
I want to see that so badly.
That's insane.
I want the 5-hour cut.
I heard the Miklo actor talk about it. Damian Chapa. He said that when it was originally screened to him and the other production people, that it was over 5 hours. And he's the one that really got in the director's ear about cutting it down. But what he said about the 5-hour cut was that a lot of it involved a love story with Benjamin Bratt. So it was him meeting a woman and falling in love and all these things that I actually don't care to see, given the severity of this story we have. I don't really want to see him being distracted by that. And probably I'm going to assume he ends up leaving her because it's not safe for his job or whatever.
He just wants to be so good at drums. Can't have it.
Guys.
Yeah.
We can't move on from this point without pointing out that Miklo assassinating Montana like this, sacrificing him, that's pretty unforgivable. Godfather 2 level shit.
What Michael Corleone did was way more evil, but yeah.
Sacrificing your mentor and then also backstabbing the group that you're becoming allies with. It's a really shady move that he does.
Yeah, it's bad. He's a bad dude.
But he did it all for La Onda, Brett.
Exactly. That's the way he saw it.
He basically said that was his father and he killed him.
Josh doesn't...
I get it. He did it to survive, but it's still murder, so...
Josh doesn't get it, I say.
Charlie.
I like the way that the movie doles out that information, though, right? Because Corey, you mentioned this. You know that there's some infighting happening within the group, but I mean, like I said, I saw this for the first time for this podcast. I did not see the reveal that Miklo was behind Montana's murder. Do you want to maybe just talk through that, Corey? How that all goes down and how all sort of hell breaks loose, and where there's war, there's opportunity.
Yeah. Well, Montana is killed, like you guys said, but I'm going to talk about that scene first because we spend a little bit of time with just Montana for the first time in the movie. And it's because the movie is explaining that, he's being transferred to another prison to help negotiate peace with the BGA at another facility. And the warden has facilitated this whole thing. So he's in this transitional jail. And Montana is preparing to meet his daughter, who we actually see on screen, and she's preparing to meet him. And he's getting ready, and he has this really nice old this kind of like old black man in the cell next to him is kind of like talking to him about it, and they're reminiscing about like what they did on the outside, and they both picked fruit, which they actually enjoyed, and they kind of, I guess, bond over that. And Montana is getting ready to see his daughter. It's the day of, and the guy like helps him get ready by like holding up the mirror for him, and he's like, "Oh, your daughter's gonna be so happy to see you." And then boom, he fucking stabs Montana right then and
For
there.
cheap times! For cheap times!
Cheap time, motherfucker.
That's a great line.
I won't do that one.
Such
actually.
a
I
great
should
line.
Stop there.
Yeah, I guess some accents are okay, some accents are not okay,
Yeah.
Josh. That's what we're coming down on this.
You're drawing the line at the cheap
It
times.
would have been great if that was Morgan Freeman. That line would be great out of Morgan's mouth. That was for cheap times, motherfucker.
It was for cheap times.
Cheap times has the upper hand now.
That's my joke.
That's so stupid.
The murder of Montana, Pappy, is so abrupt and shocking and tragic.
No, it's not.
I expected it. Right when I saw the guy, I said, he's killing him.
The minute, the 19th time he says, "I'm going to see my daughter," I was like, "No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're dead."
That's on Montana. He should have seen that assassination attempt coming a mile away.
He's just a friendly old man. I mean, I wouldn't have.
I mean, that's like a great trope that Black Dynamite did perfectly, which is like, when you say you're going to do something in a movie, you're going to be dead in the next 10 minutes. Like when it's like, when I get back, I can't wait to settle down with my girl and get a house. That dude's immediately going to be shot in the head in the next 5 minutes.
Dude, if you pull out a picture, Stevie, in a movie, if you pull out a picture and say, "Here's my girl," or "Here's my son," you're dead.
Yeah.
You're never seeing them again. Yeah.
You're getting a spear through the chest or a bullet through the head in the next 10 minutes, and that's that.
Mm-hmm. But this whole like last, or not, I mean, not even last, but this whole chunk here, it kind of does remind me of The Godfather. There's like a lot of like fallout deaths happening after Montana's murder, right? Like it's just quick cut of like this person dying from the AV, this person dying from the
Goodfellas
BGA. Yeah.
I mean, Miklo and La Onda, they really start playing the long game with this because, you know, Miklo is kind of slowly seizing power of La Onda, even before Montana's death. But after the death, you know, they talk to the BGA, and the BGA says, actually, we didn't do that, even though that was one of our guys. And they come to the conclusion that it must have been the whites who did it. They must have, like, sent a fake message to this BGA member to make it seem like they did it. But actually, as we know, it was Miklo who decided to put out the hit on La Onda. And he did it so that he can have this truce that lasts a little while until Dia de los Muertos, when he decides that they're going to take out both the AV leaders and the BGA. Basically, is kind of like a last act to seize power officially in San Quentin.
Brett, did you have any deaths that stood out to you in that montage of deaths?
The one that happens to Red Rider's a pretty bad nightmare. Burning to death with a bunch of chemicals on you, whatever. I think getting stabbed with a shank is up there for ways I would not want to die. So pretty much all of them. Actually, I remembered. I don't know if I saw it on TV but I remembered the Bonafide scene where they locked him in there. But I feel like that's maybe the only part I'd seen. So that one sticks with me a little bit because he's a baller. He's not going down lightly, and he only pretty much dies because he takes a shank to the back of the head. So
goes all the way through.
Mm-hmm. That was an interesting practical effect there. I kind of wonder how they did that.
It was really cool.
It's a pretty long, like pole coming out of his neck.
Method.
And then they retract it.
Method.
Makes you wonder if they shot that in reverse.
You know, I think there's really cool effects in this movie that are unsung, maybe not talked about a lot, like Miklo's leg. Sometimes it looks pretty fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, CB, I just want to go back to you saying they shot it in reverse. Like, they stabbed him, then they pulled it out for the effect. Like, what do you mean? Like
he was pre-stabbed, and then they pull.
Well, it makes me wonder if they, if they set it up to where it's already through, and then you could show him like pulling it out. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like the guy who they electrocute too. Like they just spill a bunch of water on the ground and drop some spark plug,
and he drops the.
Was that Billy Bob?
No, I think Billy Bob got choked out in the metal.
Yeah, he got
lab.
a garroted.
Where did they find Billy Bob for this movie?
Would have been pretty young, like he wasn't famous yet.
Young? He looks about 45 in this.
He's always been 45.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think we mentioned Danny Trejo is in this movie. I mean,
Who
not
also
super-
looks about 55.
He was born 55.
I was gonna check how many movie club he was in, but I was not gonna look his 421 credits to find out how many he's been in.
This is prime Trejo right here.
So Billy Bob was born.
This is like what made him famous.
55. I think Sling Blade made him famous.
No, saying about Danny Trejo is Geronimo.
Oh.
Yeah, I think this was his first role with lines.
Yeah.
I like when they take the
I wish
picture and he like puffs out his chest in the picture. That's like one of my favorite moments from.
Hey man, he was like a near Golden Gloves boxer.
Oh, he's ripped as shit.
But
He's
they're not
really
giving
short
him a
in
bunch
prison.
of. He's not given a bunch of lines in this movie. Very sparingly.
Except for Simone.
Yeah, not a lot, but he's a good presence to have, and he looks the part. It's because he like was the part, and I guess to connect this back to American Me, which Stevie probably knows about. I said a lot of people died in the making of that movie, which is correct, but also Danny Trejo was like close with the actual leaders of the Mexican mob, and they had a hit on Edward James Olmos.
I said that at the beginning of the pod.
They put a hit on Edward James Olmos because in the movie, the character he plays, which is Santana, not Montana, he's like raped in juvie, and that really fucking pissed them off because it was, they said didn't actually happen, but I think it also like took away some of their machismo factor.
Just go ahead and edit out earlier in the pod when I said that whole story.
You didn't say the whole story at all.
But didn't Danny Trejo like talk to the mob on their behalf or something too? Or I thought you said
He
something.
did.
Yeah.
He pretty much said that he's the reason that Edward James Olmos can still breathe air or could still live. Because, I mean, there's some things in life you could probably take liberties with in theatrical film. I don't think you want to do that with Laime in any way, shape, or form. That's one thing you probably want to get down to the bone, like, correctly. And Danny Trejo said, like, within the first 10 pages of reading American Me, he was like, we have issues. Like, serious issues here. And he said Edward James Olmos's response to it, because you got to remember, Edward James Olmos, I think, had an Oscar win or an Oscar nomination for CNN Deliver. And American Me was going to be like his big directorial debut. Yeah. And it was going to be like his opus. Like, this is going to be like his Godfather. This is what was going to send him into the stratosphere. He was directing, he was starring. And I think it was his hubris that got a lot of people killed.
Yeah. And Trejo said that, like, to this day, like, and this was a few years ago when I saw this interview, but that Edward James almost like doesn't acknowledge the fact that like Danny Trejo is the reason that he's still alive for talking the Mexican mob out of the hit.
Well, I was doing some like cursory internet research to try and figure out, why have I not heard of this movie before? And Hollywood Pictures, which was owned by Disney at the time, so Eisner production. I love when I see that Sphinx, by the way. That either means it's going to be like one of the shittiest movies you've ever seen or like a fucking amazing movie.
Yeah, right?
That logo. But I guess there was like a fist fight at one of the early screenings, and that kind of gave them a little bit of cold feet and pulled some of the marketing budget. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but I don't think this was a box office success by any means.
This is definitely a cult movie.
Yeah.
Well,
This movie is like in circulation among like Chicano communities all over, especially SoCal, in my opinion. But I think it's well beloved now, but I don't think it was very much.
I
so
think
at the time.
actually it was a humongous bomb when it comes to money. But I read that them switching the title because they panicked about American Me and like the Blood In Blood Out, and that's why they actually officially released the movie under Bound by Honor. But like all the previews and posters said Blood In and Blood Out, and then like a year later they re-released it as Blood In Blood Out, and it just went way over everyone's head, and like it's just really, really poorly marketed because Disney panicked about what it was about and the name and everything like that. So it was kind of a cluster.
Yeah.
Blood In, Blood Out is a much better name than Bound by Honor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Bound by Honor sounds like it's going to be a samurai movie or something.
Sounds like I'm gonna watch a guy go in the Navy if I see a movie called Bound by Honor.
Yeah. There's a lot that we skipped over, obviously, so maybe we can get at final thoughts. But the very end of the movie, when we have the mural that Cruz painted, and he and Paco go to visit it. Can you tell a little bit about Cruz's speech here at the end? Did it move you in any way?
What are we doing here?
No llores, vato. Nomás ven. Come on, man.
Man, you got me out of bed to come down here. Think you lost more than your hair, vato.
Ha! Don't believe all that shit you hear about Samson, eh? I'm just stripping myself down to the bone, home.
Yeah, what if I said I wouldn't come?
Shit, I knew you would come. Shit, watcha? Come look at yourself in the mirror, eh?
Oh, man. It's not all marked up, man. It's a sign of respect.
For 10 years, man, I've been Star Trekking in the Twilight Zone. Thought if I came and looked at this, I might find my way back, you know? Damn, we were all innocent, eh?
It's all gone, Crucito. It ain't like that anymore.
What, not even a little carnalismo left in there, is it? What, you think you use brotherhood up like a shot of tequila? You just drink it down, it burns, makes you feel good, yeah. And then you're left with the hangover the rest of your life.
Look, man, you showed me your mural. You're a good artist. I think you're the best. Come on, let's go.
Hey, just because you wear sunglasses don't mean you're blind, eh?
Oh, shit. You want to know what I see up there? A fantasy, man. A dream. Three vatos looking for something that wasn't there.
Loco, we stood by each other. We trusted each other. Orale, that's worth believing in. Shit, we were familia, Holmes.
You never again, Crucito. Miklo and I are finished, man. He ain't my family. I hate that fucking puto. You ought to scrape his ass off the wall like dirt.
Chale, vato, no matter how much hate there is between you and him, you're still connected. You got the same blood pumping through both your hearts, eh? That's a bond you can never break. Neither can Miklo. He's still just trying to be like you.
That's bullshit,
Simones, come on! El Gallo Negro, the baddest Chicano in the barrio.
Yo, that ain't me. Not anymore.
You ain't changed a bit, eh?
Oh, so what? What are you saying? It's all my fault the way everything turned out?
Did it move me? The whole movie actually moved me. They go through just so much turmoil. It's really hard to watch some of the stuff that they go through, and it's all like very real stuff that people go through if they're living this kind of lifestyle. So it's like all based on your decisions that you make in life. And Cruz just tells Paco to not to hold on to guilt, because Cruz knows all about holding on to the guilt. He killed his stepbrother, Juanito, or well, he didn't kill it, but like feels responsible for Juanito dying for ODing.
I thought the moment where the family forgives him was like genuinely moving. Yeah.
Bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
One of the saddest moments of the movie, just seeing him mourning, Cruz's grave, and he like lays the boxing gloves down and he's like singing, super sad.
he tells Paco to just let go of that guilt. Paco feels guilty for like Miklo. He shot his leg off. He is also the reason he's in jail again. Miklo hates him. And like all of his friends that he grew up are either dead or either like hate Paco because he became a cop and just kind of had a totally different trajectory in his life. But it's certainly a better trajectory than other people he's with. But yeah, Cruz is just like, let's just be friends and family again. And, you know, the Fast and Furious speech, pretty much.
You need that guilt. It's what keeps you going. Hey, I know, bro. I fed mine through a needle for 10 years. And that güero up there hating his own fucking white skin? Shit, he's got it worse than both of us. We gotta cut it loose, carnal. It's fucking poison. That's who we are. 3 vatos locos, full of carnalismo, trying to survive in a fucking war zone. But what I know now, bro, is that I need my familia to do it. We all do.
And Pappy, you have the thankless job of hosting, but what did you think about the big speech? Like, what do you think like the message was?
I don't know. There's a time when like none of these 3 characters are connected. And I think the last time we see Miklo is with Paco in prison. And I think Miklo's like last lines in the whole movie are like, we'll always be brothers. And Paco says, never. Right. And that's kind of the moment where, or kind of comes back to where Cruz is at the mural. He's like saying, you know, this mural is us. It's where we came from. It's all of these things made us who we are, all the bullshit, like growing up in a war zone, like he describes it. So I don't know. I mean, I was like more moved, like I said, by the graveside visit of like the dead kid and the family forgiveness. There's a little bit of that in there, but like the way like Cruz dances and stuff and does like the airboxing, like, I don't know. We've been watching this movie for 3 hours. I really had to pee. I was kind of sleepy at that point.
I was also not expecting this to be the end because I was like, okay, well, what's going to happen with Miklo? I thought we were going back to Miklo for one more scene or something. But
he's the main character of the movie, and I feel like he gets like the least satisfying ending. Because then that like fucking text comes up on screen, and Mikey, you screenshotted it and I screenshotted it too. But it's like, prison warfare stopped after this. Like,
what a fucking joke.
It's all good now.
Prison warfare is stopped.
And after that, no one ever died in a prison again.
Racism is solved, boys.
I'll read it off. It says, this is the closing text of Blood In, Blood Out. The bloody era of prison gang warfare, which characterized much of California's prison system during the decade depicted in this film, is now under control.
And racial tensions have dissipated.
Yeah, do you know why it says that? Because the guy who plays the warden is the real warden of San Quentin at this time.
He's like, can we just close with this and I'll agree to whatever you want?
Yeah, you can use San Quentin. I don't care.
It also says the decade, and it clearly takes place during the 70s and 80s. So it's not even like really well.
Right. It's like a sweeping like movie taking place over multiple decades.
Right. That decade, though. Never
one
got
of
worse.
them.
Yeah.
Things were just corrupt for a little bit, and now it's all good.
We figured it out.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. This might be a final thought, but I don't know if I want to see a Paco love story, but I feel like I was trying to like explain this to Stevie, and I don't know if I can even like articulate it right, but I feel like we should have seen him be more tortured as an adult, right? Like more fallout from his brother's death other than being like the best drug busting cop / ex-Marine. Like I feel like that would have made him like crying and breaking down more impactful. Like his journey is pretty easy actually. I mean, like, yeah, his brother dies, but then he kind of like, compared to the other two, he's kind of got it made, you know? I don't even know if that makes sense, but like,
Well, he chose
I
the best
wish there was
path,
more
right?
there. Huh?
I mean, he went down the best path, so
He did have to become a Marine.
Doesn't mean it was easy for him.
Yeah, he was a Marine. That probably sucked.
And to see like what happened with his family, and his family is Crucito and Paco, it probably like tears him up inside.
Mm-hmm. Well, like even if it was just like he has a bunch of like a couple bad dates that we see, or he can't form deep bonds with other people outside of this group because of how fucked up his family was. I feel like that would have like helped the catharsis in the final scene.
He dates Halle Berry from Catwoman, and it
He has
just
a
goes all
stint
wrong.
in Catwoman.
Plays her in basketball, shooty hoops. Any other final thoughts that you guys had? A 3-hour movie, sprawling epic, skipped over a lot.
Hey, I honestly, I just saw Oppenheimer like a week or two ago. 3-hour movie, riveted the entire time solely for the dialogue. Same thing with this movie, riveted the entire time, but just because like great plot the entire way through. Just like there's scene after scene, just something interesting is happening on screen. So I think
It's
that's
so hard to do.
Yeah, that's so hard to do. And to hear that this thing is like a 5-hour cut, I think they did the right thing, cutting it down 2 hours to make it a 3-hour movie.
Like bravo to the brains that can put together a sprawling epic like this that lasts a decade or two. It's like my brain, if I come up with a movie idea, it's like, okay, here's a movie that happens in 48 hours. I could not imagine a movie that sprawls 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Even
this is so hard to do, and they land it so well.
It makes the movie feel like it took 10 years to make.
Yes.
It seems like this movie
yeah.
would have cost a shit ton of money, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, even like there's like little conflict within individual scenes that makes them interesting, right? Like a lesser movie would have just had Paco find Smokey in the church and then cut to like them wheeling his body away, right? But this movie has like the fucking kids come in the church and Paco has to like deal with that little problem as it comes up. Like there's little things within each scene that make it compelling to watch.
And I love that they end on the tree, like flying through the whole city and ending on the tree, because they show the tree multiple times throughout the 10 years this movie takes place. This is very cool.
Did they? I did not notice it at all.
Is that weird to you, Kylo?
I didn't notice it.
That it's like this one tree in Los Angeles? Like, do you have... It doesn't... I don't know. It doesn't seem like a connection to nature sort of city. Like...
No, it is like that, though. It's like in Oxnard, where I grew up, like in the Ventura area, like up the mountains, there was like these 2 trees that you could like see from like multiple vantage points around those 2 cities, Oxnard and Ventura. And seriously, not like these trees, but like they were just like at the peak of this like little mountain or hill, whatever it is, the 2 trees. It like has its own like Facebook page, the 2 trees Ventura. But there was actually a fire and they burned down, so a bunch of local people like replanted them. But I felt that, definitely. Like, I felt that, like that. He says, that tree is Islos to me. And it's like, sometimes I go back to like the cities I grew up in and I am like overwhelmed with nostalgia. And I see these landmarks and I just throw up the VL, you know? It's good to be home, SA.
That tree has a name. Very cool.
What's the name?
El Pino.
Yeah, that's where Miklos says he wants to go when they like borrow that person's car that Cruz painted. And he says, where do you want to go? He says, El Pino.
Another final thought that I had, one of the members of the BGA is named Pockets. It's kind of funny. Funny in and of itself.
Is he got a Lost Boy from Hook? Like,
reminds me of the Tom Segura bit. Hold my pocket.
Hold my pocket.
Anything else you guys had? Any other?
I got something. We were talking about it earlier. I think Corey mentioned it, but apparently there's a whole subplot with Paco's girlfriend that actually some of the scenes showed up in the trailer, but they cut that. So,
Oh, yeah. In the trailer? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Her name was Alma, and she was played by someone named Roxanne Dawson, but all the scenes were cut. And then at the very bottom, take this for what it's worth. It's IMDb, but like you said, the original film was 5 hours long. It says they were going to make it into 3 movies. Part 1 would end when Paco shoots Miklo. Part 2 would contain all of the prison sequences. Part 3 would have involved Montana's daughter growing up and learning how to move drugs and money, which would eventually lead her to Miklo, and her father's murder would come full circle. So I think
that's a trip.
Cool.
Oh, I never heard any of that. That's amazing.
I have a question for you, Corey. So I'm guessing the water that's the LA air quotes river is there's like no water in there anymore, right?
There's rarely any water there. Yeah, I think there's a little bit in the last scene of this movie, but like, you know, it's usually like that. You can walk around.
Yeah, there's a decent amount. And is that the same thing that's in Terminator 2? Or is that...
It is. Okay. It's pretty long. Yeah, it goes all the way up through like the San Fernando Valley and beyond. Yeah. And I think in Greece,
Yep.
Yeah, where they ride the cars.
It's featured prominently in a lot of movies. I have a couple final thoughts, Pappy.
Transformers.
And it's just like quotes from this movie. This is like one of my favorite movies to quote of all time. And there's things that I find funny that are just like for me, but there's also things that, like I said, like you run into someone that likes this movie and you just start spitting them at each other. Montana and Big Al. Montana goes, "I'm gonna fold your bluffing hand someday, you chicken shit motherfucker." And Al's response, "In your dreams, Pedro." That shit is funny, dude. Yeah. Al is a fucking character. He's like comedy gold, right? He's just like one of those guys that just, his existence is funny. It's also really dark and gross, but it is funny too.
He's got all these like sexual harassment nicknames for Miklo, like "Easy there, baby cakes." Like, hold on there, blue eyes.
Miklo has to suck his finger. It's all pretty crazy, you know?
Full commitment.
Which is like, of course, the scene that your family comes in as you're watching.
Poor guy with a burned back.
Yeah, that guy's
just doing his job.
Popeye's tattoo on his chest. I'm sure some of you guys noticed that, right? It's like a woman that's on his chest, and the woman's tit is Popeye's nipple.
Of course.
It's classic.
Tasteful.
Life imitates art. Any other final thoughts from anyone?
Is anybody else kind of disappointed by the lack of food in this movie?
I saw one tamale.
Yeah, what's that one thing that he comes back from prison for? And like,
was that a torta, a tamale?
It's the best thing he's had in 9 years.
He has the tamales in the beginning and when he gets out, but there's also the pork chops. You know, I don't want his pork chop. I want his life.
All right, well, let's get into yes or no. I'll go first. First of all, Cheese Zombie, you've been a loyal friend to both our podcast and Corey's podcast, Big Dumb Movie. Appreciate you becoming a Patreon. I was very skeptical when you picked this. Corey saying that he loved it and being excited gave me some confidence, but then when I saw it was like 3 hours long, and like none of my mutuals on Letterboxd had even like seen it, I was like, I don't know what this is gonna be like.
Film Dylan hasn't seen this. What the fuck?
Not yet. Come on, Film Dylan.
Simon hadn't seen this. Get out.
I do not. I blocked Simon.
Ready, Steady, Cut hasn't seen this yet.
All of these people I hate and would never.
Fucking caveman hasn't seen it.
Wow.
Although when Matt Neglia has a review, it's going to be eerily similar to ours, which is for a movie he hasn't seen. But as we got into this and the movie unfolded, I'm with Stevie. I wasn't feeling the bad hands even in the first 10 minutes. There's a couple performances like the white dad in Las Vegas in that black and white flashback, who's maybe not the best of the movie. There's not a lot of like mainstream star power in this movie, right? Like we talked about movies like Goodfellas or Godfather, and maybe they weren't who they were at the time, but you know, multiple Oscar nominations for like multiple members of that cast. But this movie is fucking compelling. Like I was not bored at all for a 3-hour movie. And it's like the little conflicts, but in the scenes that I liked, it's the humor and sometimes over the topness of the characters, and it's just a fucking good story. It's a true epic. I'm invested in these characters throughout their 3-hour journey. All three of like the main characters I liked or loathed for different reasons. Very hard, yes. Good pick, Cheese Zombie. And more people should see Blood In, Blood Out or Bound by Honor. This is a very hard recommend. If you're listening to this podcast, you've made it this far and you haven't seen the movie, give it a watch. More people should see this. Let's reverse it this time. We'll end in LA. We'll go east to west.
We'll end in LA.
I think
Why
that
last?
Well, then you go first, Josh.
Yes.
Or second.
Huge yes. I made a big mistake in judging this movie by its first 10 minutes. Because lo and behold, there's like 260 minutes left to watch, boys. It's so much of what I love in movies is wrapped up in this movie. It has a great story with great characters, and it's a slice of life that I have not lived. And it feels like a truthful telling of that. And I'm sure not everything that happens in the story happened in real life, but that's not what I really mean. It's just like the feeling of it feels like truth or something, almost like Cruise's art, you know? I love that scene where he's like, yes, I'm still painting, but they're different now. They're more real. He like really gets in Miklo's face about it. But that's what this movie is. It's really more real than probably a lot of movies you'll see out there. And it's a gigantic, huge yes for me, boys.
I forget who was
Brett?
Brett?
Me, sure. So yeah, this is Brett. This movie's been on my radar for a really long time. I actually had a friend, or you could say a good acquaintance in high school. He was Hispanic. His name was EJ. And he just like used to rave about this movie. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. And I obviously I never did because you got time for that. But Pappy and I had a good conversation about this movie. He asked me on a side chat about what I felt. And here's how I felt. You guys can be happy about it or not happy about it. I like this movie. It's a yes for me. But I felt that the acting was overall pretty bad. I thought the script overall, the dialogue overall was pretty bad. But it does get better. I think Benjamin Bratt is really good in this movie, acting wise. I just saw like a rage monster in Miklo. I just thought he was way over the top. I get that's the point. He's trying to prove himself, but I thought Santana was the best character in the movie. I really liked, not Santana, Montana. I've literally been, for the last 25 minutes, trying to figure out where I've seen that American Me stabbing scene in a movie. Someone's really sad watching it and he gets stabbed. And I thought it was Office Space. I just watched like almost a whole movie trying to find it, but it was Role Models. So I was close. So yes, it does get better. I think the acting at the beginning is bad, but I think they all get better when they're not trying to act like they're 17 or 18 years old. Definitely yes. You should watch it all. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right, let's go Stevie, Mikey, and last Corey.
I think this is like more than a prison movie. I think this is a great family movie.
Familia.
Not like it's good for, great for the whole family, but like a great movie about family. I think this is probably in the top 10 of movies that we've ever done on this podcast. I think this is just a fantastic movie.
Damn.
It's brilliantly acted. It moves. It's a 3-hour movie, but it moves at a fantastic clip. Pat mentioned this. There's tension in every scene. Nothing is boring. It feels like a great slice of life. And, having been around Mikey's family, my family, some of it like peered through. And it was just really neat to watch. So I'll give this the hardest of yeses. Fantastic choice by Cheese Zombie. Great pick. I'm happy I got to see it for the first time. And yeah, I'll probably watch it again.
It's a super hard yes. I was totally entertained the entire 3 hours. I was not expecting that. When Josh started complaining about the first 10 minutes, before I had even started the movie, I was certainly didn't feel up for the ride, but
sorry.
From the very beginning, I was in because like, okay, this is either going to be like the cheesiest movie I've ever seen, like Fast and the Furious levels of acting, and then it just turned itself around and it was actually pretty compelling with like just a great story about all of these friends and family interconnecting this giant web of a story over the span of a decade that I thought was really good overall. I was just super impressed with it, and I had heard about it, but I had never watched it before. And like, yeah, I know Shea Serrano's profile picture is him with the shades on, which now I get the context for, and it's fucking awesome. I think he looks super cool in that scene. Yeah, I just loved the movie a whole bunch, and the characters were just great. And yeah, you really feel the tension in a lot of the scenes. So I think I just don't understand. I get why it's so long because but was that the intention the entire time? Because it feels like it's supposed to be like TV or something. And I feel like if I had watched this when it came out, like as a 20-year-old or something, this would be like my Breaking Bad for the time or something. I would just be so amazed by it. But it just it has that B movie feel, but it's still super compelling. Super hard yes. Good choice, Cheese Zombie.
Mikey, if Netflix remade this, who would play Miklo?
Channing Tatum.
We all know.
Oh, that's a good one.
No, it's Timothy. It's Timothy.
No,
come on.
It would get thrown through fucking.
I think
window.
Miles Teller could pull that off. I really do.
You have to be at least somewhat Hispanic, or it won't work.
He grows a good mustache. I think he could do it.
Shit.
Mikey, I was just trying to say sorry for complaining after the first 10 minutes. It's not really how movies were made to be like taken in, where you just watch 10 or 15 and then start typing up shit about it. So that's on me.
This is also like the last movie I expected to be like 3 hours and 10 minutes long. So like when you boot it up on YouTube, it's like, holy shit, I don't know what. And the first 5 minutes is like, this guy is just insane how he's acting, Miklo. But yeah, it's a ride the whole time.
Also, special thank you to Cheese Zombie, of course, but whoever that brave motherfucker was who uploaded this 3-hour movie to YouTube, flying in the face of any fair use or copyright law, and had to remove a little bit of the Jimi Hendrix song because that's the part that got flagged. That salute to you, sir.
If you type it into YouTube, the first 3 links are 3 full movies. Like
all 4K, baby.
Yeah, like
Let's
I don't
go.
know. They don't care about that apparently, or
Disney said, "Let it go, let it go."
Good for them.
Kylo.
Ah, yes. Blood in, blood out. I'm so glad that we watched this and did a podcast on it. I have seen this movie so many times. And I know I've mentioned this before, even kind of recently, but this movie just barely escaped my top 10 90s movie list. I made that list and I added more than 10 movies to it. And then I figured I would just kind of like rotate them around till I found the right order. And that was, of course, on the Cinestudy podcast. Check that out. But Blood in, Blood Out is still on that list. I pulled it up and it is number 16. So it didn't make the top 10, but good God, do I love this movie. If you've seen this movie a lot, or if it's been with you for a long time, I think you know that there's this like level of absurdity that is also like connected with this movie. And some of it comes from the characters, some of it comes from the performances, but it's so juicy and sweet. It's just things like Big Al, or like the way Popeye talks. Like even when he's saying something serious, like the parole board calls the shots. Like to me, it's just funny. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. You know, Al is fucking classic and ridiculous. But that stuff aside, like the weird, like unusual dark humor that comes with this movie, it's just a great story. It's really fascinating. And it's really like close to home for me. And it's just something that's like, I feel like part of like SoCal roots, this movie. And, you know, it's like, I don't know. I want to say it's like probably like the definitive Chicano movie, at least in my experience. Maybe someone has a better one, but I think it's got to be Blood In, Blood Out. It's fucking classic. Very quotable, just very enjoyable. Really dramatic, gut-punching moments in this movie, too, that just work so well. Not undermined by the weird layer of comedy that comes hand in hand with this movie. I don't know what else to say other than it's just the hardest yes.
Pappy?
Yes.
Do we know any more about what Jason Cheese Zombie, like his reasons behind choosing this movie were? Like, do you get the feeling he's got a little bit of Miklo in him or something?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think he has blue eyes. I don't know.
Yeah, he has that part.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great pick. We don't do a lot of 3-hour plus movies on spoilers.
No.
But the fact that like not a single person like really even complained about the length in the lead up to the pod, I think speaks a lot to Mr. Zombie's pick. So thank you very much. Cheese.
He actually messaged us on Patreon, right? And he requested this movie, but he had a moment of doubt where he almost pivoted, and I talked to him, and the pivot was going to be the movie Dredd, the Carl Urban Judge Dredd movie. Which is also like just like a great action movie, like fucking amazing.
Really good.
But I don't know. I feel like I might have swayed him because I said I love Blood and Blood Out personally a lot, but it's up to you, whatever you want to pick. So I might have pulled him back to Blood and Blood Out. But I told him that we can do Dredd at some point. You know, I'm sure one of us will pick it eventually because it's just a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Great taste in movies cheese. Great taste in podcast. We appreciate that. Part of Spoilers Roots, and as this podcast has gone on, I've started to connect the dots because Josh volunteered to do some trivia, but I'm now literally terrified that's going to be subjective trivia based on accents, especially from his opening question. Josh, do you have trivia, and is it subjective?
I have trivia, but you asked me if I would do trivia. It's not like I was like, hey, Pat, let me do trivia, bud.
You don't like to participate in the trivia. You like to be the game master, pulling the strings. The Miklo of the group.
Do I have a game for you tonight, boys? You are going to love this. Mikey, are you all set?
I'm set. Can I go pee real quick?
Yeah, let's... can we take a quick Spoiler Man break, Pap, and
Are
come
we doing
back?
trivia to the Mexican hat dance?
If you'd like to request an episode, hear your name read by Spoiler Man, or even just help us make podcasts, please check us out on patreon.com/spoilerspodcast.
And we're back. Thanks again to all the Patreons, but a special thank you to Cheese Zombie. Josh, you teased the trivia before the break, and you had to coordinate with Mikey, and you're playing some Name That Tune. So what do we have in store for tonight?
It's not Name That Tune. It's not that at all. But the order I got for us tonight is Pappy, Stevie, Brett, Kylo. And when it's your turn, I'll roll a number, and it corresponds to a quote. And you have to tell me who said that quote. And there's 3 people it could be. And what my inspiration is that this movie is all about the streets. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh. The characters from the movie?
So one person could be Mike Skinner of the Streets.
I hate you so much.
This also has Chicano music, so I listened to some Chicano music on my way home, and my favorite of those that I listened to is Lil Rob. So it could be a Lil Rob quote.
That's some get down music right there. All right.
And then lastly, since we got a West Coast thing going on, I figured it'd be right to get an East Coast, and it could possibly be a Jay-Z quote. So your job is to tell me if it's a Streets.
No Cypress Hill.
It's either going to be Streets, or Lil Rob, or Jay-Z. I'm also going to roll a random music track for Mikey to play in the background to maybe throw you off or tip you off, depending on how it goes. Are you doing
accents?
Are you doing Jay-Z?
You know, that's the thing. You guys
questions.
Mikey does a really good Jay-Z.
At the beginning of the pod, I asked you about accents. I wasn't thoroughly convinced that they're good to go. So we're just going to do
say they were bad.
The Martin Supermarket accent. And that's actually the track that Mikey lost. We did have Martin Supermarket music we're going to play.
They don't have any jingles on YouTube. I don't understand.
Let them burn. Horrific customer service.
Okay, so it's...
Oh, come on. I disagree. Okay, but Pap, you're
Mike
first.
Skinner,
okay?
Jay-Z,
Country
who's your third
Club
one?
Prices.
Yes.
Lil
The
Rob.
third one. Lil Rob? Okay.
Yeah.
Little Rob.
We usually do you miss and you're out. I love the high stakes. Okay. Here we go. Pappy.
Yep.
Okay. Mikey.
There we go.
In the eyes of society, I need to be in jail for the choice of herbs I inhale.
Little Rob.
Pappy, it's a Streets lyric. It's from the song The Irony of It All. Classic Mike Skinner joint right there.
Classic.
In my eye.
Sorry, buddy. Dang, I got way too many of these for it to be a one rounder, but here we go. All right, Stevie, you're up. Mikey.
Hey now.
Oldies in the backdrop, playing out the ragtop. The streets are my playground, and I'm tearing up the blacktop.
Could be any of these people.
I think I know.
What's for lunch?
That sounds like such a Jay-Z line. I'll go with who is Jay-Z.
Gots to be Jay-Z.
Ah, it's Lil Rob.
Oh, wait.
It's a bloodbath out here.
That was such a Jay-Z rhyme. You're right, Stevie.
Sounds like such a Jay-Z line.
Brett?
Well, no, it rhymed too well to be Jay-Z.
But he's so good.
Meh.
Gotta be honest, I'm not familiar with Little Rob's oeuvre.
Maybe it should be 2 strikes you're out.
That's fine, Josh. That's fine. 2's fine.
Yeah,
Back in the
Josh's
game.
games kind of suck.
Okay,
Am I up
I'm giving Pappy and Stevie the strike first. Okay.
He's got a green mushroom.
All right.
Yeah, you got a 1 up. Here we go.
There
Brett.
it is.
You ready for this, Brett?
Ready. Hear me now.
The world's an ugly place, but she is such a sight to see. The kind of woman that would put up a fight for me.
Sounds like Bay.
Wait, say it again.
Come on, man. It's tough. The world's an ugly place, but she is such a sight to see. The kind of woman that would put up a fight for me.
I was
I'm
going
just
to say
using my Martin's. I'm using my Martin's accent here. Mid-Indiana.
Can you do it in a Hispanic East LA accent?
What do you think it is, Brett?
I'll just say Jay-Z.
It's another Lil Rob. It's a bloodbath
Little
out here.
Rob again.
Greatest rapper alive.
Okay.
Little Rob.
He's too good.
That shifty Little Rob.
Wispy lad.
He's so wispy.
We got more of this beat. Here is Your line, Kylo. If you grew up with holes in your zapatos, you'd celebrate the minute you was having dough.
I am not going to know the answer to any of these, so I'm going to guess on all of them. This particular guess is, what's his name? I already forgot. Jay-Z.
It is Jay-Z. It's from his song 99 Problems.
Yeah.
You may recognize that lyric.
4 guesses in a row, gonna land on one.
Mikey, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. There you go.
Like it.
I feel good. I feel all right. Cruising through my neighborhood on a warm summer night.
All right, if I was the streets, I feel good. I feel right. Cruising in my street on a warm summer night.
Does it get warm out there?
Warm to them is like 50 and rainy.
Yeesh. I'm gonna say Lil Rob.
It is a Little Rob joint.
Nice. Little Rob strikes again.
It's from his Summer Nights song. Pappy, this truly is for elimination at this point. You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
I have a Streets instrumental for you, Josh, if you want.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
Oh, you got it.
Here we go, Pat. So I take a puff and another puff. Exhale, then I take a breather.
The Straits?
Sounds right.
That's a Little Rob. It's from his song Natural High.
So many Little Robs, dude.
He's prolific. He's William Shakespeare over here. I don't think there's one Little Rob. There's a conglomerate of them.
Stevie, here we go.
Sounds like such a Streets lyric.
How can one man write so much?
And do so little.
Hey.
Put some respect on Lil Rob's name.
Gosh, his picture is hilarious.
Okay.
You ready for this, Stevie?
You know it, girl.
Here it is.
Easy there, Al.
Pull out your sack and sit back. Whether you white or black, smoke weed, chase brown, or toot rock.
Pull out your sack.
Say that again.
Pull out your sack and sit back. Whether you're white or black, smoke weed, chase brown, or toot rock.
White or black. They're the worst rappers. Doesn't matter if you're white or black.
Pull out your sack.
Pull out your sack.
Which sack are you referring to there,
Yeah,
sir?
we get it, Mikey.
I'm just, for expediency's sake, I'm going to say Mike Skinner in the Streets.
It is the Streets, Steve. You're
Oh,
still
fuck
in the
off.
game.
I was trying to miss it. God damn it.
Here we go, Mikey. Sending you Brett's number for another music track. Okay, here we go. Fuck the other side. They're jealous. We got a banquet full of broads. They got a table full of fellas.
Well, as we know, everyone knows about Lil Rob is he's a clean rapper. He doesn't cuss. So
Is that right? Is that right?
Like you.
No, I'm sure it's not.
Straight edge rapper.
I will say Jay-Z.
That's from his song Run This Town.
Yep.
Kylo, whatever words I say to you, I would love it if you repeated them back to me in the Streets voice, because I've loved hearing some of the other guys do it. But here is the quote you got. Unbearable blues, some terrible tools to drugs and tattoos.
I only know of the streets and I've heard the voice from you guys. So it would actually be me doing an impression of you guys doing an impression.
Yeah.
And I'm just not that talented.
Unbearable blues, some terrible tools to drug and tattoos.
I'm going to Lil Rob.
That is Lil Rob.
Wow.
He's on fire, everybody.
That's kind of a tight little line he's got there. It's not bad. Okay, here we go. Mikey, this one's for you. Okay. Hopefully we're not wearing out the songs too bad. Here it is, Mikey. And if you get a knife from behind, know you're nice and in front. Do it, do it.
Doesn't sound like anybody in particular to me, so I'm just gonna say Jay-Z.
That is a Mike Skinner the Streets line. Talking about stabbing
Say
someone.
it again, Josh.
Stick the knife.
If you get a knife from behind, know
If you
you're
get a knife
nice.
from behind,
You get a knife from behind. Come to the front. Do it.
oi, governor! If you get a knife from behind,
All right, Mikey, you got one strike. You're still in the game. Pappy, you are out, so we're going to continue back up to
Me
Stevie.
and me mates grabbing our swords, getting you in the back.
I think that's what they did. The Bonafide. They got him in the back.
Here we go.
Who's up?
Stevie.
Okay.
Pappy? Not Pappy?
He's out.
He's out.
Ah, fuck.
Mike, I just sent you the numbers. Yeah, there we go. Got it. Big pimping again here.
Let's go.
Here's the quote, Stevie. This is everyday tit for tat. You owe your dealer and can't pay him back.
This is everyday tit for tat. You owe your dealer and can't pay him back.
hey, that works.
Pappy's cynical.
No, it sounded right.
Not cynical.
I just love doing that. I'm just going to say it's Mike Skinner in the Streets. I know it's not right, but it makes me laugh.
Yes, it's the streets. Let's go.
Oh, yes. Everyday tit for tat. You owe your dealer
There's
can't
plenty
pay
of
him back.
streets left. Don't even worry about running out of streets or Little Rob. Okay, here's the next quote.
It's equally not a good impression and the best impression of all time at the same time.
Brett, you ready for this?
Oh yeah.
Can you hear it?
Josh, are you keeping track of the strikes?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Brett
I was
has
born
one.
ready. Stay steady. Yep, come on, ready.
Here we go. Up in the morning and out to school, the teacher is teaching the golden rule.
Oh God, this sounds like 1979 rap. Say again.
Up in the morning and out to school, the teacher is teaching the golden rule.
Teacher's teaching the golden rule.
You guys got to run it all through the British accent.
Teaching the golden rule. I'll say Mike Skinner in the Streets.
That's a Lil Rob joint, Brett. I'm so sorry.
Both mine
Kylo,
I
you're-
missed. I thought were Lil Rob, and I went with somebody else.
Kylo, you're in, buddy.
Oh, he's on fire. He's no
He hasn't
strikes.
missed.
Kylo essay.
Orale.
Doing good.
Simon.
Here we go.
Huh.
If you boys really real enough, this is La Familia. I'll explain later.
Lil Rob.
That is another Jay-Z line from Run This Town. You guys catch
See,
that
he
one?
tricked you there.
We're
He
able to
spoke
play it.
Spanish.
Yeah. You tricked me,
It
motherfucker.
was a tricky one. Steve, or no, Mikey.
You gotta do it, Mikey.
Mikey, our text messages are getting insane at this point inside. Okay, here's yours. We put Griefa in our peepas. We love our jefitas, homemade tortillas, and 12 packs of frias.
Una pipa.
Say it again?
We put grifa in our peepas. We love our jefitas, homemade tortillas, and 12-pack frias.
Sorry, no tortillas.
My Skinner wouldn't say it like that.
Yeah. I think that's going to be Lil Rob.
That's a Lil Rob joint. Thank you
Griffiths
for
and
putting me out of my
Pippas.
misery. Oh, my God.
He definitely wouldn't pronounce the T in jefitas. It'd be jefitas.
My Skinner probably would call them fajitas.
Stevie.
Vegetas.
You're up, buddy.
What's happening, Captain?
Here we go.
Oh, let's go.
This one's fat like your mother, contains enough calories.
I don't think they go by calories over there across the pond. Say it again.
Now, this one's fat like your mother, contains enough calories.
This one's fat like your mother, contains enough calories. I'll say Mr. Jay-Z.
That's the streets.
Yeah, Mike Skinner.
Mike Skinner in the streets.
Damn.
Kylo to stay alive and force Mikey into this uncomfortable position.
Stay alive. You haven't missed any, right?
You missed one.
He missed
Missed
one.
the last one.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Cracks me up. Okay, here we go. I cook them at 90 degrees Fahrenheit and don't copy the copyright.
Oh, well, that's a giveaway. So it's one of the non-British people. So I'm gonna guess Jay-Z.
Unfortunately, the streets know all the lingo. They do talk about Fahrenheit sometimes. That was Mike Skinner of the streets.
Oh, wow.
Tricked me twice.
Jay-Z did get sued for copyright for Big Pimpin'.
Also,
Yeah.
one of the 3 rappers in that song is dead. I know it's kind of my thing. So
Brett, you are the death guy.
rest in
Embrace
peace,
it.
Pimp C.
There was one that I really wanted you guys to hear, and I didn't get to it. But what?
Did you give me one, Josh?
No, you're the winner, Mikey.
Oh, I won?
Oh, damn.
Shit. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good job, money.
Mikey.
Well, Josh didn't say anything.
Sorry,
Hot take.
Kylo was out, and you were the last one left. So maybe you should play that Big Pimpin' song and take yourself out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Feels incredible to win Blood In, Blood Out trivia. This is just Patreon, right? I'm not choosing a movie or anything.
No.
Okay. Great choice, Cheese Zombie. Just came out of nowhere. Was not expecting such a great movie from such a long movie for free on YouTube. But had a lot of fun with it, and I think this is one of our best podcasts. It was a lot of fun to record, and I think we all had a lot of fun. So thanks for the patron money, and yeah, this was Spoilers.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Cheese.
Cheese.
Special thank you to our patrons. Matt Troll,
You even addicted some of our own soldados to coca.
Brother Brian,
No can do, carnal.
Nick,
Now they're gonna pick us apart piece by piece.
La onda está cayendo.
The Meg,
I lost my fucking leg, my family back home. This is all I got left.
Nurse Stacy,
You're not the leader here.
the Wolf.
Will you stand with me, carnal?
Barky 420.
We got familia. Raza, wey.
Spencer.
I say Onda's not with you. You do what you have to do without us.
Swole.
PCP is very explosive.
Dr. Lars.
If you're successful tomorrow, you'll become one of us. If you fail, you die.
PK.
Hit a man here or here, and he dies instantly.
Druid King.
I hate to lose such a handsome customer.
Cheese Zombie.
But what I know now, bro, is that I need my familia to do it. We all do. Even you, pinche jura. Badass cop. Hey, don't back away, vato. Life's a risk, carnal. Remember, you said it yourself. Pues órale, step into the ring and throw down, ese. You a badass? Take care of business, Holmes. Caiga, puto. Cause we're from East Los, ese. We come out chased by hounds. Huh? Round and round we go, wearing a pinche rabbit's foot for luck, just ahead of the fucking hounds. ¿Qué hubo? ¡Ah! ¿Qué? ¿Qué vida es? ¡Qué loca vida, Holmes!
That was Spoilers.